fourth graders. Today is red carpet day for our spirit day. So I thought I'd enjoy a little red carpet with you. Hope you're doing well. We're in our new book now, The Fantastic Secret of Owen, Jester by Barbara O'Connor. And I actually, I was at school today and I found another book by Barbara O'Connor. And maybe when we finish this, we'll read that one. I was really excited to find it. Wish is the name of that book. So I hope you've been enjoying the book, and we are going to continue on page 28, chapter 5. The boys looked all afternoon. They combed the woods. They tromped through pricker bushes. They waded along the edges of the pond, their feet sinking in the gooey mud. They found a plastic milk crate with the bottom broken out. They found a coffee can full of mud. They found a piece of PVC pipe with property of Monroe County stamped on the side. And they found an old metal thing with a rusty bolt sticking out of it. But none of those things seemed like something that would have fallen off the train and made the noise that Owen heard. The thud, the crack of wood, the tumble, tumble, tumble sound. "Are you sure the noise came from around here?" Travis said, tossing a handful of rocks into the pond. "Sure, I'm sure," Owen said. "I mean, maybe it was farther up that way." Travis nodded up the tracks. "Maybe it wasn't near the pond." Owen shrugged. "Maybe." "Then you know what that means," Stumpy said. Owen and Travis looked at Stumpy and waited. "That means it could be up yonder behind Viola's house." Stumpy set his mouth in a hard line and drew his eyebrows together. A deep, dead, gloomy silence fell over them. They stared at their shoes, their hands shoved in their pockets. Suddenly, Owen's head shot up and he snapped his fingers. "Allergies," he hollered, grinning. Travis and Stumpy stared at Owen. "Viola never goes back that far," Owen said. "There's weeds and stuff back there. She hates that. She sneezes and gets sick and all." He shook his head. "No, Viola won't be nosing around here." Owen looked up the tracks. He knew every inch of them, how they curved slightly just beyond the pond, then continued on through the fields way in the back of Viola's house. After that, they went over the main highway, out of Carter and into Fort Valley. Out of Fort Valley and into Byron, out of Byron and into Macon, and on, clear on through the state of Georgia. As the sun sank lower and the sky grew darker, the boys agreed to come back to the tracks and look some more, if they could ditch that nosy Viola. Then they headed back toward Owen's house to catch mosquitoes for Tule. "Here you go, Tule," Owen said. "These are yummy." He opened the peanut butter jar and released 3 mosquitoes into the frog house in the closet. Then he spread a piece of newspaper over the top of the plastic tub to keep the mosquitoes from escaping. He waited. He listened, hoping to hear Tule hopping around inside catching the mosquitoes. But it was quiet. Owen lifted the corner of the newspaper and peeked inside. Tule sat on the branch. The mosquitoes flitted around the plastic tub. One of them landed on the branch right beside Tule, but the big green frog didn't move. Not even one little bit. Owen sighed. He reached into the tub and lifted the bullfrog out. He examined Tule's yellow throat, his webbed feet, his froggy face, with the heart-shaped red spot between his eyes. Owen got an icky feeling in the pit of his stomach. Tule did look a little sad. Owen set the frog down on the floor beside his bed. He waited. Tule didn't jump. Owen nudged him a little. Tule didn't jump. The first time Owen had set Tule down on his bedroom floor, the frog had jumped clear across the room in one giant leap. Owen sighed again. He scooped Tule up and put him back on the branch in the frog house. He covered the frog house with the chicken wire and the brick, and then went over to look out the window. The moon cast a soft glow in the yard and the woods out back. The night was quiet for a few minutes, and then the faint clatter of the train drifted into the silence. Louder, louder, louder. Clatter, 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 clatter. The train roared by and then was gone. But this time there was no thud, no crack of wood, no tumble, tumble, tumble sound. Owen tried to imagine something in the bushes or the gully or the woods somewhere out there besides the track. Something that had fallen off the train. But what? What had fallen off the train? And where was it? Owen was determined to find it. But first, he and Travis and Stumpy were going to have to build that cage for Thule. It would be the best frog cage ever. It would be big enough for swimming and jumping. Half of it would be out of the water with logs and leaves and squishy mud to sit in. The other half would be in the water with room for Thule to swim in big, big circles, kicking his froggy legs the livelong day. And a whole parade of water bugs and grasshoppers and crickets and flies would go right through the chicken wire sides of the cage, and Thule would gobble them up. And Thule would not be sad. Chapter 6, page 34. Owen tucked the duct tape under his t-shirt, motioned for Pete and Leroy, and tried to open the screen door so it wouldn't squeak. He failed. The screen door squeaked, and Earlene's harsh voice thundered from the front hallway. "Where are you going?" "Out yonder," Owen called back. Earlene stormed into the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron and shaking her ugly old head. "You're going nowhere till you sweep up every crumb of dirt and blade of grass you tracked in here last night. I don't know why on God's green earth you can't take your shoes off like I've told you a million times." And she yammered on, but all Owen heard was blah, blah, blah. He let out a big heaving sigh and trudged to the broom closet. "What's that under your shirt?" Earlene said, squinting over at him. "Nothing." The duct tape fell out from under his shirt and rolled across the kitchen floor. Earlene snatched it up and shook it at Owen. "What are you doing with this?" "Nothing." Earlene's face turned red as fire as she shoved the duct tape back into the junk drawer. The whole time he was sweeping up dirt and grass, Earlene stood stiffly beside him, her fist jammed into her waist and the toe of her clunky shoe tap, tap, tapping on the floor while she yammered some more. Her voice swirled around the room like a horde of angry bees. Owen hummed to himself very, very quietly so Earlene wouldn't hear. His humming helped turn Earlene's words into a steady buzz. But every now and then a word rumbled out of the swirling buzz. Frog, mud, disgusting, trouble, noise. Owen hummed a little louder so he could shut out all of Earlene's words and thinks. He thought about meeting Travis and Stumpy out in the barn. He thought about putting all the chicken wire and tomato steaks and stuff into the wheelbarrow and taking it down to the pond. He thought about how to keep Viola from sticking her nosy nose into his business and ruining all his fun. Okay, we'll stop there on page 36, fourth graders. Thank you so much and look forward to reading more with you tomorrow. Take care.